Hello, I'm Julie Selby with Sandy Social Marketing Training, and this is my co-host.
Hello, I'm Deb Alcadinho with Business for Social Good.
Welcome to the Wonderful Women Business Networking Show, where we shine the light on wonderful women, their products, services, projects, and passions. And we have two wonderful guests to introduce you to today. And I do want to say at the top of the show that this will, sadly, be our last show today. So Deb and I have, woohoo! But it's really not sad because you're not getting rid of us. Deb and I are going to continue to shine the light on wonderful women, business owners, professional women, and their businesses in our own ways. I have continued to challenge Deb as I need to challenge myself to create more short form vertical video content as a part of our social media programs. So that's one of the things that we're going to be working on instead of spending our time on this live show.
But you know what? We have been doing the show for a year.
It has been a year, yes.
And you know what? I'm going to pause because I forgot to do our territorial acknowledgement.
I forgot to invite you to do that. So yes.
So please give us a moment, guests, to acknowledge the territorial lands that Julie and I come to you from, and that is the Lekwungen and Songhees peoples, otherwise known as Victoria, BC, Canada. And so with that, I wanted to be sure to do that. But with that, I wanted to also acknowledge that, gosh, it's been a year. It's been a slice. And we started this show with the two purposes. One was not only, as Julie said, to shine the light on amazing women that we know that are doing great things in the world, and shine the light on their projects and businesses and books and all sorts of things. But also, selfishly, we wanted to get more comfortable on Instagram Lives and LinkedIn Lives. And what better way to do that and accomplish that goal than, gosh, just show up and do it yourself.
We did it. We did it. Oh my gosh. If I had any fear at all of being on camera, I would say the nervousness does not go away to go live. I would be lying if I said I was no longer nervous, because I still am a little bit each time. But I definitely would say I kicked my fear of being on video camera. So I'm feeling pretty comfortable with that these days. How about you, Deb?
Yeah, absolutely. It's a hurdle. You know, it's always weird for us to hear our voices, see our faces, you know. And so it's been great for us, and hopefully it has built confidence in our guests as well, giving them an opportunity too. So
indeed. And we have a whole library of a year worth of shows, interviews that you can go back and watch, where we have introduced you to so many wonderful women, and we have two more wonderful women to introduce you to today. Shall we go ahead and dive right into our guest interviews, Deb?
Yes. So we have two dynamite ladies. They're both actually residing in the same city as Julie and I, and that's not always the case.
Yes.
But these two powerhouse ladies are very different in their businesses. So let's bring onto the stage. Let's bring Anna Harvey first.
All right.
We're going alphabetically, are we?
Yeah, welcome. How are you today?
I'm well, thank you. And really lovely to be with you too. And congratulations, 1 year under your belt and diving in and doing it, like very inspirational for us. And gee, what an honor to be, like the wrap up here. This is awesome.
Thank you for your kind words. That means a lot.
Yeah. Thank you. So Anna, Julie and I have both known you for so long. I've lived here almost 20 years, and I think I met you like soon after I moved here. So that's as far back as you and I go. And Julie,
you're dating us, Deb. You're dating us. Stop it.
Yes.
As our hair gets lighter and lighter and lighter. Anyway.
Please tell us about you and your business and your new project, Anna.
Well, I will. And I love the way you said, like, projects and passion. So wait, what an intro. Way to step onto that stage, eh? So yes, my new passion and project. It's called Retire Solo. So this is my newest innovation. I've from many sort of iterations of my life and inventions in my life. Here I am now at this stage, and taking all that I've known and accumulated through becoming a coach and working in the career transition space, but then carrying that forward into the retirement transition space, and now into this beautiful, I think will be probably the last phase, but who knows, the last phase of doing this wonderful work specifically for the Canadian solo woman who is retiring and ultimately aging on her own. And I love being here and speaking and being in this space because it's my space. This is who I am as well too. So just really, really stoked about showing up for these women in all the fullness of taking them through what it looks like to go to and through their own retirement transition, but then taking it beyond that. And how do they truly thrive into the decades that then will be ahead for them? So yeah, what can I say?
I just love that idea that you're connecting solo women across Canada who are in the same scenario. So tell us more about how you plan to do that.
Thanks. So how I plan to do that and how it's already well sort of underway, close to launch, is doing it through a coaching cohort program that is not only that, but also the community. What I've learned from having already been a major contributor to an online retirement coaching program is that the learning that women and people do, and you probably know this, in this online environment of coaching is so amped up when we can put them into community so that they can learn from each other. And women do this, I think, brilliantly. Like we're really open to being vulnerable. We're so open to sharing, passing along knowledge that we've acquired through our own, life journeys, that this is just a beautiful experience, I think, to connect these Canadian women coast to coast, let them learn from each other, let them hopefully, my big vision is that once the community is big enough, they'll move even beyond the community and say, hey, there's 3 of us in this online community in Edmonton. Let's get together and meet, right? So there's this possibility.
Like in-person meetups potential for the future.
Yeah, I know.
Very exciting.
So this is the big vision. So, you're hearing it here first, and may it come true quickly.
Congratulations.
But, small, launching and starting by getting, the founding members into the base of the community, get it built up. And then continue to build it and grow from there. So, yeah.
What a service. What an opportunity. I think, there's so many women, well, for so many reasons. Statistically, we outlive our husbands, but beyond that, there's so many women that are going into these next seasons of their lives solo, either by choice or by circumstance.
Yeah.
And
absolutely.
That's a good way to put it.
Right?
Yeah. It is. It's the first time that this sort of cohort of boomers has really come to be, right? Before we had the more traditional model where there was always a child or two in the wings that could be there as we aged and as we needed support, and that's just not there. And the interesting thing from having done some one-on-one interviews with women about this is it's not only maybe that they have the children, but they don't want to burden their children with this. And this was really interesting for me to hear because that hasn't come out in the written research that I've done. So interesting to hear women express that. But so
not only that, our kids are, I speak personally, our kids are spread out all over the world. So, gone are the days where your children live in the same city as you and they take care of you when you get old. Like that's just not happening.
Yeah. So true, Deb. Yeah, that's really very true. Geographically distanced. And, sometimes that even happens to our friends group. We develop a friends group and then our friends move away. Right. So, it really speaks to needing to have some, sort of a bit of a toolkit to know how we're going to do this. And that includes, of course, the social support, the emotional support.
Yeah, how to navigate the seasons.
So how long will your coaching program be? And then what does that look like in terms of an ongoing support community? Will you have a paid support community, or will you have like a Facebook group, or tell us more about your plan going forward?
Sure. So good question. And the answer is they'll come into the coaching program, which will be 1 month. So we'll be meeting twice a week. So it'll be 8 sessions that they go through. And those are live and on Zoom. So they're interactive. They're in the moment. And again, me delivering some content because it's my area of expertise. That's what I want to share, but not from the sort of, sage on the stage space. It's more about, here's some information. Now, what do you think? Bring them into the conversation, get that sharing starting right from the get-go. And then from that, running concurrently with that, they'll be in community. I'm only going to do 2 cohorts in 2023, July and September, and those 2 will be the founding member groups.
Great.
So they'll get to be in the community for a year. After that, I'll move into a 3-month model. So there's going to be the perks that they'll have for coming in as the founding members. Yeah. And then the learning will keep going because, I know my area of expertise, but there's many specific areas, finances, legal, health, I know enough to get me into trouble, or to share with them some of the basics, right? But I want to be able to bring some experts into the community so that they'll be able to speak specifically. So yeah, big plans.
So depending on the areas of interest of your community, you'll be bringing in potentially some other experts to help serve them.
Yep, absolutely. Yep, well said.
Very, very cool.
Yeah.
Oh,
So it's I'm doing these again. 2023 will be being the launch. I'm doing it in a very I think interesting way too, in that I've offered sort of 3 ways to join the community and the program. One of which is a pay what you can, pay what you will model, and that's because I really want this to be open and inclusive to any woman that wants to come along on the ride and learn how to be what I call a savvy solo.
Yes.
Savvy solo. I love that.
Yeah. I mean, we can fumble our way through this. Of course. I mean, Cathy will be able to speak with this in terms of travel and travel planning. You can fumble your way through everything and take what's available, but with a little foresight and some intentionality about how one wants to build the next decades and how we want to live it. That puts us into a space of being a savvy solo, I think. So that's the intent.
And I just wanted to pick up on a particular word that you used, Anna, and that is, you said women.
Yeah.
So I'm assuming that this is inclusive to all women, self-identified as
Absolutely.
women. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. Fully inclusive community.
In whatever way you know yourself as a woman, we're together. This is what this has been created for. So yeah.
What about a woman like Deb, who is married, who might want some female support?
Yeah, that's true. And that's a different type of thing. I want to keep this community to the women that feel the angst and the pressure of knowing they have no one.
Right.
And when you're partnered and you have the possibility of leaning on immediate family in some way, you're relieved of that, right? The one thing that the solo woman has is she is fully responsible for how these years are going to unfold, fully. Yeah. And that means we're good news is, yay, we're the creators. But on the other side, it's all up to us. So the pressures are different from a partnered woman.
Yeah. Congratulations. So your next or your launch is July. Do you have a date for that?
Yeah. So the 2 cohorts, one will be July 10 and the second cohort in 2023 will be September 11. Amazing. And they'll run Mondays and Thursdays for the 4 weeks. Yeah.
Brilliant.
Yeah.
So thank you so much for sharing all that with us.
Oh, my pleasure.
Julie has your full contact information as far as your social handles and your website and how our viewers can reach you. And she'll be sure to put that in the replay notes.
Yes, indeed.
So folks will know how to connect with you, find your launch, get all your information. So thank you so much.
Wonderful.
Anna.
Congratulations. So excited for you, for your new project and your community that you're going to build. And I think it's going to be an amazing service, amazing, support.
Thanks.
For the audience you want to serve.
Certainly my intention. So may it be so.
Yes, indeed. And I'm going to ask, Anna, are you able to, would you like to stay with us while we bring our next guest on stage?
I'd love to.
Okay, that sounds great.
Yes.
And we now welcome to the stage Cathy Scott with Departures Travel and Niche Women's Tours. Welcome, Cathy.
Thank you. It's a privilege to be on your final grand finale show.
Grand finale. Great to have you with us.
It's a special episode for sure. We're so thrilled to have you. Please tell us about you and your business.
Businesses.
Okay, well, thank you.
Businesses, yes, indeed.
Yeah,
travel expert extraordinaire.
Well, thank you. So my business is all run under the Niche Travel banner. And Niche Travel is 3 different incarnations or companies underneath of that. So Departures Travel is the full service travel agency, which of course speaks to itself. We take care of all of the clients' needs, no matter what they are, travel related. And I also have Niche Women's Tours, which is probably, to speak to Anna's last presentation, would fit really nicely in with what she does. But it is for all women, actually, married or single, though. And we do phenomenal trips all around the globe, which are really fun. And we'll talk a little bit more about that in a minute. And then I also have Niche Travel Inbound. So that is Vancouver Island luxury tourism. And we take care of people coming into Vancouver Island and create exceptional experiences here on the ground for them.
Very cool.
Amazing.
So you are a busy lady. You are constantly traveling yourself. So you're leading the way. So one thing I wanted to say about your women's tours is that you actually design all of these tours yourself, and you go on these women's trips at least once, potentially twice, some of these tours. Tell us more.
Well, most of the time I only do them once. And then other times I actually I design them and I don't even go on them before somebody else goes on them. If I know, if I know the product well enough and I've been to the destination or know the vendor that I'm using there. But most of the time I do test out the first one. So I'm kind of the solo trial run. And then from there I have other tour hosts, such as yourself. And they get to experience them along with our guests. So it's only ever 12 women plus the tour host, or 11 plus a tour host, so nice and tiny. And so you'll be heading off to a beautiful trip to southern India relatively soon with a group of ladies. And so that'll be
well.
Really
I want to talk more about that, but I want to just say that's one thing that makes your women's tours different, is that you do have a social host on your women's tours. So tell us more about that and why you choose to organize your trips that way.
Well, I mean, I've been doing this for 20 years, and I've just really discovered that the size is important. So I never go over that minimum small number that I do. You can get a couple of tables at a lovely small restaurant if you've only got 12 people, but if you've got a big tour bus of 20 or 30 or 40, you just can't do that. The social tour host aspect is really important, because it's kind of like when you go to somebody's house for dinner and they have the dinner host is there, and she just makes sure that if you don't know anybody, that you meet everybody and everybody's mingling really nicely. And if there's any issues with the menu or anything, they're there to kind of stick handle it. But they're really there to enjoy the evening with you. And that's what my tour hosts do. They're there to really enjoy the trip. Most of the time, they've never been to the destination either, or at least not on that particular trip. And they're it's not really a job in that sense, but they're there if there is any issues. And every now and then something happens. As you know, Julie, something went sideways on one of your trips with one of the ladies getting ill. So it's nice for the ladies that are on the trip to know that there's somebody there to take care of them if the need would arise.
Absolutely. And tell us about some of the destinations that you offer with your women's tours.
Well, it's pretty much the world. But
what are some of your favorites?
Oh, my favorites. Well, when people ask me that, I always struggle, because I say the last.
How do you pick a favorite child? Yeah.
In the last place. So the last place I was in, we started out doing a gorilla trek in Uganda, which was amazing. And then we went to do a sky safari, or a fly safari, if you will, in Kenya. And we did a couple of beautiful luxury tented camps. And then from there, we flew down to Zanzibar and spent some time in Zanzibar, which is just a phenomenal destination. So that was my last trip. So is that my favorite? It's sure on the top of the list. So, and my next one that I'm personally hosting is I'm taking a group to Laos, however you want to say it, and Thailand. And but we're really going off the beaten path into some of the really remote village areas. We're doing a small luxury boat on one of the small backwaters in Laos. And yeah, I'm really excited about that one. So that'll be coming up not too long from now.
Super cool. And so it's really a variety of destinations, everything from kind of wildlife adventure to, you know, cities and temples and history and culture, and really your tours have it all.
They do. I mean, they're really women-centric. So women like to do everything, right?
There's
And
definitely some shopping in there, shopping, eating.
always a bit of shopping for sure. And lots of times we'll do some cooking classes. We really try and get in to experience some of the local women's businesses. That's big on my list. The tours are always pretty much 4-star plus boutique, meaning they're small local properties that are family owned, family run. You know, in an ideal world, they'd be women run, but that's not always the case. In the destination. So not supporting the big national chains, not that there's anything wrong with those, but when we go into a community, we really want to support the community and have the dollars stay right there with them.
And I think that's what really sets your company and your tours apart, Cathy, is the way that you've structured them, the types of trips that you lead, just everything about your methodology, you know, everything that you've said is just so different from any other tour operators that I've come across anyway. And so kudos for creating just incredible experiences, both locally and internationally.
Yeah. And so as Cathy mentioned, she has, you know, she can't be everywhere. She can only do so many tours. She's a busy lady. And so she has a group of social hosts, and I am privileged to be one of them. I led a tour for India, for Cathy, to northern India back in 2016. And the companies that she partners with on the ground in these destinations just treat us like royalty. They take such great care of us. It's basically, we show up in the morning at, you know, the designated time, and they literally are hosting us everywhere, handing us cold bottles of water, and like just, you know, taking us to all the sites, amazing restaurants, and they, you know, telling us how much to tip. So they really take such good care of us, and it's those relationships that Cathy cultivates with these, you know, with these other amazing travel companies that are on the ground in these destinations, I think that makes her trip special as well. So I have the privilege of leading a tour to South India this October, and Cathy has been on that tour. So I wanted, and we do have some space available for that tour. So ladies, if anyone has interest in traveling to South India, if you've dreamed of visiting India, join me this October for our tour. We've got a lovely group so far, and we do have some space available for anyone who might want to join. So Cathy, you have been to South India. So can you tell us a little bit about that trip?
Oh, absolutely. One of the things that I will say is that South India is very different from North India. And I like
I'm
to say
so excited.
India. Yeah, you will absolutely love it. It's a beautiful, beautiful. It's much more lush and tropical in so many of the areas. It's a gentler India, which, you know, India's
not quite as fabulous, but also a bit chaotic at times in northern India.
And you know, you will have still a little bit of that in southern because you are in a couple of larger centers, but a big part of this is really off the beaten path. And then, of course, you're finishing the end of it in a beautiful luxury Ayurvedic spa resort, which, and you'll have to tell me if the yogi is still there on the beach. It's beautiful. And when I was there, there was, and it's been a few years now, there was a yogi there. I do yoga, and I joined him every morning under the palm trees overlooking the ocean. And I think he was about 62 or something at the time. And just, it could bend like a pretzel. And I wonder if he's still there. So you'll have to let me know.
It
was amazing.
It was amazing. Yeah, amazing. But, you know, you will be going into a family's home and doing a cooking class there. And Nimi and Paul is their name, and they're just lovely people.
The food is amazing.
Yeah, it's to die for. And the Southern Indian food is, it's still curries and beautiful cream sauces, but they use a lot more coconut base. So you get those coconut cream curries, and there's more fish, a lot more fish. and seafood, because you're on the coast in a lot of the areas, whereas in the northern India, of course, you're not really on the coast other than at one time. And so then you got a lot more vegetarian food and whatnot in the interior, where you're going into the northern. So I think you'll really enjoy it. There's beautiful, beautiful temples that are there's so many in India, it's ridiculous. But these ones are different. They're just very different from the northern Indian temple. Yeah, you'll really like it.
And how many days is this excursion? Is this trip?
This one's 2 weeks, I believe. Yeah, they're generally around 2 weeks. I try and keep them 10 to 14 or so days. This one's a little bit on the longer side, I think. But yeah, it's a lovely length of time. It's a long way to fly, so you may as well take some time. And I do really love, with the ending of this tour that we've spent, you'll spend a few days to just have some more downtime and enjoy that before you fly home.
Yeah. Also, part of this particular tour is a river cruise, and in the famous backwaters of Kerala. So tell us a little bit about that, Cathy.
Yeah, that is a really magical experience, because it's the only way to get in those areas is through the cruising, and it's an area where you'll watch the people on the banks of the river living their lives. I mean, there's people standing there doing their showering and bathing babies and getting their water for their meals ahead. There's people fishing. Actually, at one point we went up to a dock, and I'm sure you'll do the same thing. And then you bought the fresh seafood right there and bring it on. They cook it on the ship for you. So, well, it's actually more of a boat. They're just small river boats, and they're quite beautiful. So it's a really magical experience, because you're really getting a slow but authentic piece of southern India.
Like amazing people watching along the river, I'm sure.
With a little cocktail in hand, that never hurts.
We like that. We do like that. I seem to recall a picture of you laying on a pillow of some sort. Perhaps there might have been an umbrella in your drink.
There may have been, and that was definitely on the river cruise part. It's a pretty lovely, magical experience. So that's one thing. Southern India is a little bit of a gentler pace than northern India. Still it's busy. There are trips to India. You do need to see so many things, and a lot of it you have to do by driving, because you just can't fly in between everything. But there's a lot more relaxed time in the southern India trip.
What's the date for that again? Sorry, Julie.
End of last half of October, I think, approximately. Okay. In the caption, we can put the exact dates and the link to the full tour itinerary for that South India trip.
Perfect.
And can you tell us, Cathy, are there some other upcoming women's tours that you would love to feature or let folks know about?
Sure. Yeah, absolutely. There's always more. Well, I'm in the midst of planning the 2024. I've got some things launched on there now, but frankly, I've been super busy this year with traveling and whatnot, and new family members and that sort of thing. But for this year, we still have a couple of spots left on yours in southern India. And I think we've got about 2 spots left on our South Africa, which is an amazing trip. It's a safari. And they start out with a safari, and then they go down to the winelands and Garden and end in Cape Town. And it's one I have done as well, and we've done it a few times. It's always a top-rated tour. So do have a couple of spots on that. And then next year we do have a couple of spots left, I believe, on our the one that I just did in Kenya and gorilla trekking. I think there's 2 spots left on that one as well. And I'm also going to be leading in next fall a trip that it's going into Abu Dhabi and Dubai and all of that sort of Middle Eastern. It's called Middle East meandering. So we're actually doing that on a cruise, because it's the best way to do that one. So got some spaces on that.
That's a new one.
Yeah, that's new. Yeah,
very cool. And from what I understand, your trips fill up quickly, because Cathy's been doing this a long time, and she has her ladies that follow her. So they say, "Where are we going next?" And her trips fill out very quickly.
Yeah, generally those ones go out, and then they have a bit of a wait list. But sometimes those clear. Somebody has to drop off for one reason or another, or they don't sign up. So yeah, there's always room. But lots coming up. We've got some great destinations in mind. But just got to get busy and put them all together now.
And how is travel looking, just to kind of wrap up, how is travel looking in general? Are you finding it's kind of back in full force? People are back out traveling again, or would you say some people are still cautious?
You know, it's an interesting time. When COVID hit, it was literally like a tap turned off. It was overnight done, you know, nothing. And then when it came back, it was like a fire hose turned on. So it's been like that since. We have been absolutely swamped. It slows down a bit in the summer, which is good. Gives us a bit of time to catch our breath and get caught up. But people are traveling. Some people are a bit nervous, but not our clients. They're still going and making up for lost time, frankly.
Right.
So doing back-to-back trips, and it's pretty crazy out there.
Yeah. Well, hopefully you can they're making up for lost time, and you're making up for some lost business as well. So
yeah, and lost travel. I'm just going.
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. And your whole team travels as well. So they speak from experience, your experienced travel team.
Yes, they do.
Yeah, very cool. Well, thank you so much, Cathy, for joining us and telling us a bit about your business. Of course, we will have the links to your websites, your businesses, so that folks, if they want to travel, or if they are wanting to come to our beautiful part of the world, or wanting to learn more about the women's tours, these boutique women's tours, we'll have all of that information for them in the caption. And with that, Deb, this is officially our last Wonderful Women Business Networking show. We want to thank you so much. Thank you to our folks who have watched the show and given us feedback and your kind words of support. It truly means the world to us, and we will continue to serve you in other formats. We'll continue shining the light on our wonderful women business friends and their products, services, projects, and passions in our own ways with our content. So we would encourage you to stay in touch. And of course, you can go back and watch our wonderful year library of interviews with all these wonderful women. And Deb, would you care to share some final thoughts?
Gosh, I'm at a loss for words. It has been an amazing year. Thank you. Just echoing Julie's sentiments. Thanks for all of our viewers over the year, and to these two lovely ladies today, and all our past guests. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Anna. Thank you, Cathy. Thank you. All our past guests. Thank you so much to you for watching our replays. We truly appreciate you from the bottom of our hearts. Thank you for watching, and please stay in touch with us. Thank you so much.
Bye, everyone.
Have a great day. Bye-bye.